Americans have been experiencing discrimination in the United States of America for years now, and modern day examples of unarmed blacks being discriminated against are Michael Brown and Eric Garner, based on their skin and how they look. Black Lives Matter is an organization that is campaigning against the unequal treatment of blacks in the U.S. In the South, 4 million African Americans were slaves, representing 35% of the total population in 1860. Slaves working on plantations were forced to be up and ready for work before sunrise and were not allowed to stop working until the sunset each day, as they were looked upon as inferior to their slave masters. Soon after the soon after abolition became a major reform movement, with politicians in the North supporting an anti-slavery attitude. The Northern wage labor system could begin to look something approximating freedom itself when compared to outright bondage and slavery in southern parts of the country. From 1864 to 1870, three amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, led to the abolishment of slavery, citizenship for freed slaves, and voting rights for free slaves. Westward expansion played a role in the sectional conflict of slavery because citizens wanted a balance of free states and slave states. Whites in the South were not fond of the new amendments and considered their discrimination and segregation of black people. After the Civil War had ended, the southern states of the United States underwent a Reconstruction phase, which was centered around bringing new rights to freed slaves. Jim Crow South refers to the revival of black codes in the South. Jim Crow South replaced Reconstruction because white Southerners were not ready for black slaves to be fully integrated into the same freedoms that they were accustomed to. The Ku Klux Klan was a prominent force in the South, which perpetuated an anti-black sentiment after the conclusion of the Civil War. The KKK is a huge reason why thousands of free slaves migrated from the South to the United States, who had migrated from the southern United States to the North. Although slaves were free in the North, they were still subject to discrimination and segregation by whites in the North. Violence from white workers in the North and segregation in schools in the North was a reality for free slaves that moved from the South to the North. African American civil rights leaders soon led a fight to the subsequent inclusion and integration of blacks into society, including W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. Other examples later in the 1900s of black civil rights activists are Rosa Parks, who on December 1st, 1955, refused to obey the bus driver's order to give up her seat in the colored section to a white passenger after the whites-only section was filled. Another activist in the civil rights movement for African Americans was Martin Luther King, who is the most prominently spoken and a leader of the civil rights movement for African Americans when he was alive. He is best known for his role in the advancement of civil rights using the tactics of nonviolence to further peace. In modern-day America, there is still racism and discrimination against African Americans, but there are people working to stop on it, such as Black Lives Matter, which is an organization looking to stop the discrimination against African Americans and to help better prepare society for a future where there is no discrimination.